Insurance can provide you the safety net to keep you moving toward your goals and enjoying life's rewards. With multiple locations across the state, Farmers Union Insurance agents provide quick quotes and professional services you deserve. Since 1948, Farmers Union Insurance has focused on insuring the people of South Dakota. From the most remote quarter section to the busiest intersection, Farmers Union Insurance, insuring a brighter tomorrow.
At A&W, it's called the original Bacon Double Cheeseburger because we invented it. You're welcome, world. 100% U.S. beef, crispy hickory smoked bacon, invented and perfected here. Not to mention, it's just better with made fresh A&W root beer.
The meeting to order. Stand, say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We have a motion to approve the agenda with one amendment for an action item as to the policies on instruction and programs for homeless students.
So moved.
Thanks, Joel. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gaikowski. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public communications? None. Conflicts disclosure? None. Motion to approve the minutes of the December 14th meeting.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the financial statements.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve claims.
So moved.
Thank you, Larry. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Marty. Discussion?
Said to be the cheapest boiler month in the winter months in years.
But that Apex seating, that's the online elementary?
No, Apex is different. Can you explain to him what
Apex
what
seats?
we're paying for Apex seating?
Apex seats are the distance learning for just high school students.
Oh, not elementary.
Yeah, they're just high school.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was elementary.
And we purchased them through the NESC because we get a discounted price. Are they $125 or $150 a piece? Whichever. But we can sign up a student into a seat and they can take unlimited classes as a student.
Do you have a number of seats then that you pay for?
We currently have 10
I think so.
total.
Are we limited then to 10?
What we're doing is we're just playing around with the numbers, and I say playing around, but we monitor the numbers. The number of students that we need, or seats that we need in order to take care of our students, that's what we have. I can easily
Adjust.
increase it if I need to. And so I think we started out the year at 5, and we've just slowly grown.
As far as the online that you were talking about,
Well, I meant the
yeah, for the elementary, pay for that under the credit card each month. We have a monthly bill for that, so that's listed under the credit card.
And I might say, if you don't mind me, I think we're still getting a discounted price for everybody that's signed up for it. When I signed up students originally for the Excelis, we placed them into what's called a scholarship program. I think it's probably some wealthy person that donates money to this program. And then the students are required to take or complete some quizzes based on, planning and prep and study skills and things like that. It's just a kind of more of a study skills type thing that goes with it. And so that's helped with the discount on that price. I think our original quote as to what it was going to be for Excelis was, if a student was worth about $4,500 in state funding, I think we were going to spend at least half or more. And it's not that much. It's about $800 per student. So it is less than what we
Quite a bit.
anticipated. As long as they continue to participate, it's voluntary, and we've signed them up to it. So but they've been completing them, and
Is that what I just paid, what I just reviewed on the credit card, Lori, that I was asking about? And it's a monthly payment? It's significantly less.
Than the estimate, yeah.
Yes, it is. I mean, I want to say it was $75 a student a month or something like that?
that's the monthly amount.
Monthly amount.
We have had some students
1,200.
return the second semester here.
$1,200 a month.
Two
Total,
students.
right? Yeah.
And those that return, it's because it's on a monthly basis, we get credit for, you know, if they're not participating in the rest of the year, we don't lose that money. We're
It's
not
been
charged
good.
for that, so.
And that number's been pretty consistent then.
Some fluctuation, not a lot. Would you agree, or?
Yeah, you're 10, high school.
No, I mean the Excellus middle school, elementary, middle school. There's some that go up, and then we've had some that come back down.
Right.
Okay, any other questions as to the claims or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to set school board election date for April 13th of 2021.
So moved.
Thank you, Marty. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Larry. Discussion?
The two positions open this year will be Joel's and Tom's, and the first day you may begin circulating petitions is January 29th.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the 2021-2022 non-COVID Webster Area School District, I added that last part in, calendar. Thanks, Mr. Gatkowski. Second?
Second.
Thanks, Larry. Discussion.
Just a couple of changes. I had pointed out to you that we had a week in that original draft in which we had President's Day and state wrestling. I decided to take state wrestling out and inform the wrestling coaches as I was doing that, or planning to do that. And then the only other change that I made, I guess, was leaving the federal holidays as federal holidays and not makeup days. And the reason I did that is when we took the one day out, it put the last day of school on a Monday. And I can't remember I don't know if I can ever remember a year without a snow day in my career. I think there's always, 2 or 3, and some years there's 5 or 6. So my anticipation there is that if we keep the federal holidays as federal holidays, our last day of school is that 16th, I believe, of May. I don't have it in front of me.
You do.
And then any snow days would just move it to the 17th, to the 18th, just as we've done in the past, prior to putting the federal holidays in there. So that's the only change.
Discussion, gentlemen? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That may be the quickest calendar discussion we have had in all of the years. I like it. All right. It was all because it was non-COVID. Motion to approve supplemental budget 05-0121.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gatkowski. Discussion?
The things we are adding, you can see, it's all been donations, for things that have been purchased with donations.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve Title IX sexual harassment policy.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Discussion.
As you recall, we've probably been discussing this for 2, 3, 4 months. And at our last meeting, we had decided it probably would be best to go with the Associated School Boards template, and that is what I did. There shouldn't be any reference to any other school district in ours. The district is the Webster Area School District. It is typed word for word minus taking, and it's stated in the instructions that you can take out the legal references. I took out the references to, there were legal references that were towards our grievance procedures. Grievance procedures are still referenced in there, but I just got rid of all of the parentheses stuff behind it. I did leave in most of the legal references throughout the document because they were already there. Let's see, one other thing. Yeah, I'm crossing over my policies. That's really all we needed to do. We have a grievance policy in place, so if there is something that occurs with a sexual harassment policy, we may have to refer to the grievance policy as well. But it takes care of the sexual harassment, all of the definitions, who can and cannot investigate, who can and cannot make the decisions, all of those things. And as we discussed last month, if we have a situation like this, we would most likely seek an outside person to do the investigation.
That was my question. We didn't have a designated investigator.
No.
Correct, Tom?
It states in that policy that it can be this person, it can be this person, or it can be this person, and it can't be this person, those types of things. But
Yeah, we don't have anybody
But our
designated.
discussion is that if we have something like that, the reality is if we have a situation, I'm contacting Rodney and just asking him, okay, walk us through this so that we don't miss a step here, and we take care of what we need to.
Absolutely, I agree with Jim. I mean, if unfortunately one of these situations was to come to light, this is where you would want to have, Rodney Freeman, our legal counsel, walking us through step by step, finding us the right individual that can be an investigator, because it's just not as easy as appointing somebody like we do sometimes, with luck of the draw. It's a very difficult position.
And I think seeking his assistance, there could be situations in which you could probably come to an agreement or some sort of solution prior to, because that's still part of the process, is that this doesn't have to be turned into a huge legal issue. If both parties are taken care of in the process, then you can come to a solution at a much lower level. And he would be able to probably give us the advice as, okay, this is serious, or you know what, you should be able to work this out, try to.
I just think that no matter how small or large a scale it is, your first call should be Rodney. Just,
With this type of stuff, yes.
yep.
No question. Agreed. All right, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve, I'm just gonna, since we're doing policies, I'm gonna add in the instruction and programs for homeless students. Is it all right if we add it in right now for that?
Sure.
We're gonna add it in, that policy.
And this is a revision.
Correct.
So it's both E and G?
Nope, this would be the
Second
new,
item under
yeah,
policy.
this was the amended item we had in here.
Okay.
G is being included with D.
Yeah. Anybody willing to give me a motion on that one?
Oh.
This is the family first.
Nope. This is the instruction and programs for homeless students.
Is going with which?
With what we just approved with the other
Okay.
policy, yeah.
So move.
Thanks, Joel.
Second.
Thanks, Larry. Discussion.
The purpose of this, we have to upload documents for Title I accountability. And the document that I was going to give to Lori Wilkinson, I looked at it and I just thought, I need to review this because it hasn't been reviewed since 2011, 2012. And I'm glad I did, because they have a requirement that you have that particular policy, but you also have to have a policy about resolution pertaining to the school of origin. And our policy was more bulleted. The policy that I've got as a draft now has more paragraph form, and it has all of the parts that we need. And then it does include the portion where there's dispute resolution process for the school of origin. For our district, most of this doesn't really pertain to us, because if there is a homeless student in our school district, we're going to treat them as a homeless student, give them all of the things that they need, And there's not an issue of whether or not they attend Webster area school, elementary school, or another. If you're in Aberdeen and somebody's homeless on the north side and they normally go to school in an elementary school up on the north side of Aberdeen, what this law protects them from is so that they don't get shifted to another place simply because they've been temporarily placed somewhere else. So it's to keep the kids in their original school. It's not gonna affect the Websters and the Wilmots and the Wabays, but we still have to have an enforcement.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve a Family First Coronavirus Relief Act in regards to employees with COVID.
So moved.
Thanks, Larry. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Marty. So, gentlemen, where we're at on this, if you will recall, our last meeting, we were waiting to see what the federal government's action would be on the extension of sick leave. They did pass, a new round of funding. However, as part of that passage, there was not a continuation of the benefits for PTO, paid time off. I spoke with Lori, asked her to go ahead and place this on an action item, and I'll just throw out for conversation purposes that, the question we have now before us is originally, if teacher A came down with COVID in December, they were able to take the 2 weeks off and it did not affect their PTO. We need to take action now if teacher B gets COVID in January, February, March, April of May of this year. Does it affect their PTO? And just throwing it out for conversational purposes, I would submit that if we have teacher B get COVID here in January, February, March, April, or May, we should still cover that with the coronavirus funds we received from the state of South Dakota initially, because I believe that our staff, and I want to be clear, not just teachers, but our staff here at the district have been doing everything they can to keep the doors open. And if they just happen to get COVID in December versus January, that's luck of the draw, and they shouldn't lose out on those 2 weeks. We do have the funds available that we can use to support that, and so that's where we're at. Do we want to continue that, or do we want to do something different?
I think we should continue.
I'm good with continuing it.
Yeah.
Okay? Keep that an easy conversation. All in favor with us continuing the paid time off for someone with the COVID requirements pursuant to our previous procedures, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Resignations, each individually, correct?
Yes.
Motion to approve to accept the resignation of Brian Lux, golf coach.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second.
Second.
Marty, got that? Discussion?
Thank you for his years of service.
Agree. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve, accept the resignation of Lori Wilkinson.
So moved.
Thank you, Larry. Second.
Second.
Marty, with the second. Discussion?
Thank you for the years of service.
Again, thank you for your years of service. I mean, how long has Lori Wilkinson been here? 30 plus?
I would say 30, I don't know if that for sure.
I think since the early 80s,
I don't know the exact number, but
maybe late 70s.
You know, we should say, it's a long time.
years of service, yeah.
And Brian Lux with coaching golf, how many years has Brian Lux coached golf in Webster? Since Bruce Olson left? Is that a fair statement?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so,
Before that.
again, the 80s, thank you to all of these folks that have given a lot of time and energy to the school district. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to accept the resignation of Betty Schmidt.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion. Well, if I would be on my
She's been here since.
stats a little better, Lori Wilkinson does tell me it's been 37 years. Betty Schmidt says the last 25 years. So, we got a few years with everybody here. Thank you for your service. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And when, excuse me, when you look at the title area, Betty and Lori are both in the title area. So they've served that in that capacity for a few years here, so it'll be tough shoes to fill. They've done an awesome job.
Thanks, Craig. All right, superintendent report, Dr. Block.
COVID update. Over Christmas break, we did have a case on the basketball team, which turned into a couple more cases. So probably about 2/3 of our varsity basketball team was quarantined. They have all returned, I think most, as of last Friday and this last Monday. We currently have, and I was just looking at this just prior to the meeting tonight, we currently have 3 students that are quarantined that will be returning yet this week. And then we have 4 additional students. So right now, tonight, there are 7, according to our spreadsheet, 7 students quarantined. That might be the lowest I've seen in quite some time, so keep our fingers crossed. Yeah, that's what I have for stats right now. I wanted to briefly mention the vaccination schedule. Our staff has had some questions regarding that. I contacted Isaac Gertis on Friday, and he said that the hospital will notify us as a school district, because we're a larger group within the community that will get that. We have to coordinate it carefully and precisely, because there's only so much time that they can have the vaccine or serum, whatever you're gonna call it, out and ready to go. And so he said that, you know, they could easily do our 75 to 77 staff members if everybody gets the vaccination in an afternoon from like 2 until 7 p.m. He said they have to spread it out. One of the time-consuming issues with it is that everybody that gets the vaccination has to stay for 15 minutes to review if they're going to have some sort of a reaction. And so that's kind of a coordination in itself, is there's only so many you can give shots to and place in places, in some place, while they're waiting. And so, you know, you can't just do 100 and go, where are we going to put them all now? I did ask if it was possible to consider doing something off-site from the clinic, and he said it just is best if they take care of it. They've got the refrigeration, they've got all the things that they need there. They have the emergency personnel people there as well in case there is a reaction. So it appears that it's going to need to happen at our clinic or our hospital. We're in Group D. At our superintendent's meeting last week, the CEO from Prairie Lakes, it's Casey DeBoer, I think is his name. I think he's got a son that's a game fishing park guy or something here. Anyway, he said, we're in Group B. He said, now don't get your hopes up too high. We're looking at about 2 weeks from last Wednesday, he said, that group would begin vaccinations. But he said, educators are kind of towards the bottom of that group, and it's a large group of our population. So he was looking at 3 to 4 weeks before they would start doing that. We're using, in our area, we're using both of the vaccines, but majority of it, as I'm told, is the Moderna. Is that Moderna? And that one has the 28-day wait before the second shot. That's the other thing we have to coordinate, is when we get our first shot, we have to coordinate when that 28th day will be. And I don't know that we will need to do an early release, but one thing I was going to ask is if you could treat that similar to me doing an early release for snow, or give me that authority in case we do need to schedule something where we get out at 1:30 and start the shots at 2 or something like that. But it'll all depend on what we have, because we can maybe get a good portion of our secondary going out there by 2 o'clock with prep periods and things like that. So not all, but we could get some.
I'm confident, Jim, that absolutely do the early release, and I'm sure every student wants us to do the early release. So they're encouraging you to have those shots and line everybody up at once at 2. So I don't think that's a problem at all.
And one question that has been asked by many people, especially our staff, is, well, what about my spouse? I know when I'm, you're gonna tell us when we get the shots as a school system, but what about our spouse? If you're in the Sanford system and you have that My Chart, you may have already received a text message or an email stating that you will be notified when you can get your vaccination. All others, if you're in a different system, they might have something similar to that. So you need to check with your provider or the web page with the provider with your account. Otherwise, it's going to be a matter of the media, newspaper, radio, TV, that type of thing.
So does the spouse fall into the group D with the teacher?
No. So our teachers could be vaccinated and their husband or their wife may not be vaccinated until group E, possibly. And I was told by both CEOs, our Sanford Webster and by the Prairie Lakes, is that they're trying to coordinate when they're starting each of these groups and each of the subgroups within them, because they don't want it to turn into a situation where if Watertown gets ahead of schedule from everybody else, then they've got tons of people flocking to different facilities. And he said, our goal is to try to take care of this regionally and in the county, but technically if somebody showed up at Prairie Lakes Hospital and they weren't from Cottington County, they're probably not going to say, get out, you're not from Cottington County. I don't know that they go that far in depth with yeses and nos. So they're trying to coordinate it statewide so they don't have that issue.
Have they inquired about using the Armory or something like that?
I actually proposed that, and that's where Isaac said it really needs to happen at the clinic. So, any questions on that part?
All good.
The next item I have is the work week. I'm just mentioning this. We actually have been doing pretty cool things with our career and tech ed program for the last 3-4 years, and we've also been doing a lot of job shadows and visitations on job sites. That isn't occurring anymore because of COVID. So this is going to happen virtually. It is April 20th to the 24th. We're just going to have to tweak it a little bit to figure out how we can get that connection between business and industry to the classroom. So there's probably going to be maybe more videos that are provided by particular business and industry, or perhaps maybe a Zoom session. We'll try to coordinate that so we get some activities. It's mainly meant for our sophomore students to get an introduction to what we've got in the area.
We missed that last year due to COVID.
Yeah, it was canceled
Right.
completely, so.
I sure hope we can get it going, and I think we are. I, through business, got an email just today actually on it, asking for different ideas and opinions on how to host those things.
Yeah. Even what we did, I don't know how many years ago it was, Joel, remember when we had the staff
Yeah.
do that? Even doing something like that where the kids get to go to different sites and they sit in your conference room and listen to you about your business. It's unbelievable. What
I had
you
more
learn.
positive comments when the staff came as well. Just they didn't know what the different businesses did. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it was really a positive
I
thing.
hate to say it, it's not been 5 years already, has it? But, it might be something where we do that on a cycle where every 5 years, we kind of reintroduce to our staff, because we're gonna have new staff, and you have staff that forget what's here.
Yeah.
Probably was about 5 years ago. The Development Corporation
I
hosted
know,
it,
I
correct?
just like, I hope it wasn't 5 years
Yep,
ago.
it's probably about
was
5
already.
years.
It goes fast. So that's another thing we could be looking at, is maybe doing something for our staff again. It just provides a lot more information about resources within our own community that they can use as well. Moving on to something similar to that is professional development. I'm almost embarrassed to say that the English learners training that we have listed here, 2 years ago in the spring, we had to, we rescheduled it like 3 times because of such a terrible snow situation. So we ended up canceling it. And then last year we had it in place and we ended up canceling it because of COVID. So I'm praying that we can actually have this training this spring. It's meant for all educators, to teach them about what it's like to learn a second language. And do you remember any of the words that there's a few words that in the English language, we have some words that have 5 different meanings. And so if you're trying to learn the language, and you can get easily confused. But it's that type of strategy that they show the difficulties and the challenges that students trying to learn English will face that we don't even realize exist because we know our language. So it's to be determined. We do have it tentatively scheduled in April, so I'm hoping that will happen. On February 12th, we have 2 different things going on. Elementary, or K through 6, pre-K through 6, we're doing behavioral management training. And then for the 7th through 12th, youth mental health first aid. The youth mental health first aid is basically not just to identify kids who might be on the verge of hurting themselves or suicidal or anything like that, but also looking into how can you identify students who have some sort of a significant event that may have occurred in their lives. You know, if they lost a loved one unexpectedly, or parents got divorced, or things like that. You can identify some of the behaviors that come along with that type of thing, as well as the issues that the kids face and maybe some of the needs that they have that we don't always recognize. So that's what that training is for. And then the last thing that I have is beginning the accreditation review process. I had this on last month's as well. I want to start looking at committee work, but since last month, we just learned last week that they're actually going to move all of the accreditation and the reviews and things to the following year. So it won't be next year for us, it's actually going to be 2 years, in 2020. 22-23 is when we'll have it. But I still want to make sure we start putting our documents and things together, so it's not kind of a cram type of thing when we do have to do it.
And that's because of COVID?
Yes,
Of course,
yeah. It was an executive order by the governor to move those things forward. One other thing that was brought forward in one of the executive orders is the requirement for teacher evaluations has really been waived. And I knew that, but we're continuing doing what we do as a district. Any teacher that's not tenured is going to be evaluated. They'll get 4 walk-ins and 2 formals per year. And tenured teachers get 2 walk-ins and 1 formal per year. The only thing that we haven't really pushed a little bit this year are the, of course, I lose it off my mind. No, the accountability with student achievement.
Oh, SLOs.
SLO, student learning objectives. We haven't really pushed that issue. It's an additional thing that teachers were expected to do as part of their evaluation process, and that's been waived. And I'll be honest, I'm quite fine with that. To me, it was more of a hoop to jump through. I don't know if I should say that way, but that's kind of how I look at it. And I just tell teachers, hey, look, we want to see achievement in the classroom. You know how to figure out your assessment. So that part I haven't pushed. I don't know if you have, but
I haven't.
I did ask the teachers to put together their SLOs like they would normally do it, but we haven't followed up with the achievement part of it. That's what I have.
Any questions for Dr. Block? Thank you, Dr. Block. Mr. Case, principal report.
Dr. Block covered a lot of it. I just wanted to give the board a heads up. Curriculum-wise in the elementary, we are going to be looking at a reading curriculum upgrade. It's been since 2013. Our contract has run out, so that will carry us through the end of this year. And if you remember right, the reading one a few years ago, or it was kind of a spendy
It's not
one.
cheap.
Right. So we will have our first visit with the first company next Wednesday. We'll do a Zoom with them and learn a couple programs that they have. And I'm sure they'll operate like they have been. A lot of these companies have gone to signing contracts. And a lot of them aren't, in the elementary, are not giving out textbooks. They're giving out consumables. So they would send us consumables each year. So the kids, they're like workbooks. So the kids would use them as workbooks, and then in that contract, they would send us a certain amount next year. So I'm assuming that's how they're going to operate this year, and I don't have any prices yet, but that will be to come later. just giving you a heads up curriculum-wise, nothing in the middle school yet, haven't worked on that. Not sure what's up for curriculum review in the middle school, but reading for elementary for next year. Of course, that bill will go after July 1, next school year. Other than that, I didn't, like I said, Dr. Block covered everything else, unless you have any questions.
Nope. Anybody?
No.
All right, thank you, Mr. Case. NESC,
With NESC, the big deal is the hiring of the new director. They're spending a lot of time, they're doing extra board meetings, developing for hiring for that. And then Oldham Ramona, I believe, is now part of the co-op too. Other than that, it was pretty much standard business.
thank you, Marty.
So with adding another school in, will that reduce the user fees?
I don't believe so.
You don't usually see a significant change because typically when they add in, the services that they need, they kind of cover
Sure.
theirs. It's mostly cost sharing, so it's not going to be a significant change. The only time I remember seeing any significant change is when Sisseton exited. That brought our child count for special ed in the co-op down significantly. And that's why they did it, because they had enough need to take care of their own.
Justify their own.
So there was a little bit of change there.
Are they in the interview process on a new
I
director?
believe they're interviewing this week, actually. It might even be tonight.
Yeah, I think,
I'd say by the end of the week, they'll
Tomorrow.
probably have the interviews done. Because the first week after break was to downsize the candidates to 4 to 5, and this week is interview process. They want to offer a contract prior to their January meeting, so they probably want to offer a contract because their January meeting would be a week from yesterday,
Right.
this coming Monday.
And they want to offer a contract by then?
I believe I was in, early on.
Yep.
I haven't been in since they're in the process, but that's what I recall. I think they wanted to be able to offer a contract prior to their board meeting in January.
All right, buildings and grounds.
The only thing I continue to focus on the boiler. Last month, we did talk about putting a video or taking some pictures. I have to be honest, I have the Post-it note on my desk. I didn't do anything with it, I apologize. We need to figure out a way to get that information out to folks. I don't know if you want just still photos or if you want a video. I can see if, I don't know, Mrs. Poole doesn't have one of those media classes. I don't believe she has, but I can talk to her.
Can Bearcat TV just go
What are
portable?
you trying to do? You just need a video
If
for
we
the
wanted to
public?
show kind of footage of the boiler room and the boiler, I mean, if we stood beside the boiler, people would get an idea of how big and massive it is.
We have a portable battery video recorder that we could walk around and upload it on Bearcats TV.
Okay.
You and I can do.
So maybe we could work
We can do
something
it
out.
on a phone too.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Mike, because I think that, a lot of people just don't understand. When they think of boiler, they think of what they see in their home, their business, their shop. This is not your mom's, your home's boiler. And I think even just seeing where it's at in the building and, literally in the dungeon of the school, for lack of a better phrase, showing all the old 1890, whatever it is, 1900 brickwork that's still down there around this boiler, it's good for people to see that. I think there are more and more people that watch Bearcat TV, our alumni that have graduated. They tune into that, and I think you can pull up anything from the past, and it would be nice if that was probably sometime archived, even just what our school looks like. There's a lot of selling points to the beautiful building that we have up here, even what we've done at the football field, the track. I mean, I think there's something that Bearcat TV could help promote the school and give education to those that have left or are still here and just don't have a chance to get in here.
It would be nice when we did this with the boiler room, if we could get, Dr. Block and some custodians or some people with some knowledge of the history and the maintenance issues that we're having, and kind of do a little bit of a tutorial, just explaining the problems that we're having and what we're foreseeing coming.
We did experience some water loss in the boiler recently. Fortunately, it turned out to be, I don't know if it's a supply pipe or a return pipe, but it wasn't the boiler. Our custodians were able to kind of isolate where that was at, had it repaired, and I didn't
Well, we were
see it
scared
open.
for a couple of days, and
Yeah, it
they were
semi-panic.
searching, and they were through the tunnels, and
Lori, I'm
could not
scared
find this
from
lake, or this
November
lake.
1st till April 1st, if that thing's gonna blow. I'm scared every day.
And then on the third day or something, and they monitor, so they know exactly how much we're losing, and they're just like, and then I don't know, a few days later, we found it, and we're able to fix.
You think about it, students that graduated from here the year that the boiler was probably first put into service are well past Social Security age. You know what I'm saying? You think about that. If you graduated when you were 18, and that boiler's been here for 60 years, you're now at 78. I mean, that boiler has been doing yeoman's work. And that's if it's only 60 years old. So, anyway. Buildings and grounds, I think that covers it all. We have executive session to discuss personnel. We will not be coming out of executive session to take any further action. So do I have a motion to move into executive session?
So moved.
Thanks, Marty. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Joel. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.